The Hyundai Verna is the current benchmark in the fairly crowded compact sedan segment. Launched in late 2017, the new generation car took on its then rivals, the Honda City, the original Maruti Suzuki Ciaz, to come out victorious. Earlier this year, it faced fresh competition from the Toyota Yaris too. But even the mighty Toyota wasn't mighty enough to pip the Verna to its top spot. But now the Maruti Suzuki Ciaz is back with a facelift. It is updated with a new exterior, a new interior and of course a new engine. But will the changes be enough to give it an edge? So let's start with the obvious first point of comparison, prices, and let's get to petrol first. Both the new Ciaz and the Verna are available with a petrol engine mated to both a manual and an automatic gearbox. But while the Ciaz gets just one, the new 1.5 litre petrol, the Verna gets a 1.4 and a 1.6 option. But more on that later. Both cars are available with 4 variants each. While the base model Ciaz starts at 8,19,000 rupees ex-showroom, the base petrol Verna is actually cheaper by 20,000 rupees. But with most people choosing higher variants anyway, it is interesting to see how that turns around with the top specs. The Ciaz Alpha comes 3,000 rupees shy of 10 lakh rupees, and the Verna SX with the optional package costs 11,51,000 rupees, a whole lakh and a half more than the Ciaz. It is better loaded though. The Verna Petrol Auto is available in 2 variants with prices ranging from 10,65,000 to 12,65,000 rupees. The Ciaz on the other hand gets 3 variants to choose from with prices ranging from just under 10 lakhs to 10,97,000 rupees. Essentially, a top of the line Ciaz Petrol Automatic is just as expensive as the entry level Verna Auto. While the petrol market in India is certainly booming, it is still the diesel engines that get a substantial chunk of sales figures. Just like the petrol manuals, the diesel manuals too have 4 variants each. Prices for the Verna diesel range from 9,60,000 to 12,85,000 rupees, and in comparison, the Ciaz diesel ranges from 9,19,000 to 10,97,000 rupees. Again, almost 2 lakh rupees cheaper than the Hyundai, which is a massive difference in this segment. But the Verna diesel gets 2 automatic options too at 11,84,000 and 12,99,000 rupees, while the Ciaz has no diesel automatic option. Now the one we're driving today is the Verna in its top of the line automatic variant or avatar, and you can get the petrol version in 2 engine options. You can get a 1.4 litre engine which is 99 horsepower, or you can get a more powerful 1.6 which is the one we have here, and that makes 121 horsepower. Now this engine is the most powerful engine not just in the Verna range and not just when you compare to the Ciaz, but when you compare it to every other car in the category too. It's more powerful than the 1.5 you get in the Honda City. It's more powerful than the 1.2 turbo engine that you also get in the Vento. Not only is the Verna more powerful on paper, that performance does translate well to the road too. The engine is smooth and has a really strong mid-range performance, which means you don't have to shift down to a lower gear all the time. Or in the case of an automatic, a gentle push down on the throttle can easily build up some speed. The Ciaz on the other hand gets a new petrol engine, a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder naturally aspirated unit that makes 103 bhp of peak power and 138 Nm of peak torque. Now when you compare to the 1.4 litre engine that the Ciaz got in the previous generation, this new 1.5 is definitely more powerful, more refined, and does translate all that performance from paper to tarmac. But when you compare this engine to the Verna feels a little bit more powerful because it just is. The Ciaz does seem to struggle a little bit on the highway. In the city not so much, especially in bumper to bumper traffic, but on the highway when you do start to get flowing roads, you do want to reach higher speeds, triple digit speeds especially, Ciaz does seem to struggle just a tad bit, and it's a little more strained, a little noisier too. The petrol Ciaz 1.5 with the manual gearbox returns 21.56 km per litre. The Verna, on the other hand, gets 19.1 for the 1.4 petrol manual and 17.7 km per litre for the 1.6 litre petrol manual. The automatic petrol Verna gets 15.92 km per litre, and the Ciaz Auto, on the other hand, gets a substantially better 20.28 km per litre. Now, coincidentally, both the Ciaz and the Verna that you're driving today are petrol automatics, and that's a big growing audience, especially in urban areas. Now, while the Ciaz gets a 4-speed unit, which is a slightly older bit of technology, the Verna gets a 6-speed torque converter, and honestly, there's just no comparison. That 6-speed is a better gearbox, it shifts better, it's more smoother, and the kick-down motion on that car is a lot better too. It just has much better response to your driving in all conditions. And that brings us to the diesels. The Verna Year 2 offers not only a bigger but also a much more powerful engine. The 1.6 litre 4-cylinder turbo makes 126 bhp and 260 Nm of peak torque. The 6-speed manual offers a fuel economy figure of 24.75 km per litre, while the 6-speed auto gets 21.02 km per litre. The Ciaz, on the other hand, gets the tried and tested 1.3 litre MULTIJET diesel engine that makes just 89 bhp of peak power and only 200 Nm of peak torque. But what it does lose out on power, it gains in fuel economy with a whopping 28.09 km per litre. So to wrap it up, while the Ciaz wins in terms of fuel economy, the Verna absolutely trounces it in terms of sheer performance and has that diesel auto up its sleeve too. Both Ciaz engines have the SHVS or mild hybrid system, and that marginally helps attain better fuel mileage figures. Now, the Verna and the Ciaz both have a touchscreen, both have inbuilt navigation, they both have Apple CarPlay, they both have Android Auto, they both have the standard Bluetooth functions, and they both have a USB charger on the bottom. So it's very difficult for a car to stand out in the midst of all the sort of noise that you get in the market, in the industry. But the Verna does, and it does rather well. It's actually a very cool feature, very literally. It's got cool seats. Now, I keep saying cool seats are great for India. A few people actually don't agree with my opinion, but I love them simply because of the fact that I feel very, very hot while driving in this heat and this humidity, and it helps me cool my butt down and make me sweat a little less. That's always a great thing. The other feature that the Verna gets over the Ciaz is a sunroof. Now, while it is a little bit of a gimmick, and while the sunroof in India is not exactly ideal because you do have a lot of pollution to deal with, a lot of heat to deal with, but imagine those few days when there's almost no pollution in the air, you're driving up in the hills and you do want to enjoy that fresh air. Having a sunroof is one of the nicest things you can have. Crank it open, enjoy that fresh breeze coming in, enjoy some nice sunlight for a change. It will make you feel a lot nicer, a lot happier. And then of course you can combine it with those cool seats. You can keep your back cool. While the Ciaz is slightly lower in terms of features, it does differentiate itself by offering a light forward insert in the dashboard. And those combined with the brushed aluminium bits do make the car look a little more premium. That said, the Verna is clearly ahead in this segment too because of all the extra features you get over the Ciaz. And that brings us to rear seat space and comfort. Now that of course is a very important part of the buying decision in the compact sedan space because most owners are still chauffeur driven as compared to driving the car themselves. And the Verna is the least spacious in this category because even though it's based on a brand new platform, it just is really low on rear leg space and rear head space and just feels a little claustrophobic. In comparison though, the Ciaz is the most spacious car in the category and of course has the most amount of leg space. Both cars do get charge points at the rear, a flip-down central handrest, and of course rear AC vents. Both cars also have faux leather in the top spec model. While the Ciaz and Verna both get ABS along with 2 airbags and ISOFIX child seat mounts as standard on all variants, the Verna also gets an optional 6 airbags in the top spec model, giving it a clear edge in terms of safety sweepstakes. The Ciaz Automatic does have ESP though. And that finally brings us to our final point of comparison between the Verna and the Ciaz, which of course is design. Now the Ciaz has got a bunch of upgrades which actually make it look rather nice now. That grille does seem to work rather in its favor, and those bumpers do make it look a little sportier. It just adds that bit of coolness that the Ciaz desperately needed. The Verna though still is a nice looking car. Well, maybe not in that color, but in general it is. And that sort of cascading grille makes it look really contemporary, very aggressive, and it does work. The big update though for the Ciaz is the fact that you now get an all-white lighting structure up front. And while a lot of people do opt for this sort of all-white package as an aftermarket accessory, the fact that it comes with white LED headlamps, the white LED DRLs and the white LED fog lamps is a great sort of push in the right direction for a lot of buyers, and that actually might be a selling point for a lot of people. So which one should you buy? Well, if you don't mind the extra cash, the Verna is the hands down better car. Yes, we know it's 2 lakh rupees more expensive, but then you do get those extra features. You however cannot deny the Ciaz's advantages with both prices and space, but on every other count, the Verna trumps it convincingly.